The van's been stationary in here now for almost 4 months. So long in fact it's literally got cobwebs on it. But with the worst of the jobs behind us and the van creeping towards completion, I got a second wind and pushed on with all the underside painting and protecting, in prep for putting the wheels back on and getting the van back on the ground. Or so I thought. That didn't quite pan out, which is what this video is all about. Just whilst I've been wax oiling, I've just realised the loom that runs down here actually got trapped by the fuel tank whilst I've put it back up, so I've just loosened it back down now. I've just got it to a stage where I can push it back out of the way. Obviously over time, if I'd have let that go, I don't know if it had caused any fueling issues because the tank was on the piss, but also to rub through all the wires to the back. And yeah, so I'm kind of glad I found that. It's little jobs like these now where I'm going around and going through things that I can actually catch stuff like that. So yeah, it's nice to be able to go back around the areas I haven't touched in weeks. Just, you know, give it a little double check. Now then, on to reattaching the face. I was still a little gutted about the winch idea being put off, but also admittedly a little relieved. It was one less big job looming over me. So I could push on with getting Amber's face put back on, and I decided to go with the donor van's bumper. Sprinter bumpers are renowned for going all weird and distorted, and my one was a testament to that. It was knackered. Where the front end had been bumped, it had snapped one of the main mounts. Where you've got the lower grille piece in the bumper, the donor van's is almost perfect, whereas mine is like a funhouse mirror. Then you've got the issue with the siren hole in mine. The donor van's obviously doesn't have that. And it's this hole that's been letting all spray and weather in and just rusting out what's behind it. Hence why I had to get it all re-welded up. There's a little bit left to do, like swap the fog lights over. And I cannot stand the mid-90s grey that all these bumpers came in, and just over time get progressively greyer. So I bought some bumper paint and we're giving it a spray up in the right colours. And as for the old one, well, it'll be getting disposed of responsibly, like an adult. There. Right, I finally bit the bullet and went to a dealership because I was sick of getting the wrong, newer model reverse switch. And it's exactly the same, it's just got the tab in a different place, so you can't bolt it in, therefore it doesn't work. So yeah, went to Mercedes finally, Rigor? The one nearest here anyway. And I was like, right, here we go, what's going to be the damage? Actually, £10 cheaper than the other two I got that were wrong. £15.60 this was. And genuine Mercedes part. Goes to show sometimes, doesn't it? Like, you're not always going to get ripped off. A positive, cos Mercedes. Finally, there we go. Get home and fit it. Right, back at it 2 weeks later. What we got then? Literally when I started this, I thought it was going to be a 5-minute job, just a little side job. No, of course it's not. No. Yes. No. Go on. Go on. Do me a solid. Please. I've got so much other stuff to do. Best of it is I've done all this panicking, sort of getting the reverse light switch ready for its MOT and all the other bits. Mechanic friend of mine said the other day, this isn't actually required on an MOT for 2004. But we're here now, so let's just get it done. Oh my god! Looks like the linkages are coming back off. No. Not really enough room for both of us in here, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. Come on. No, not that way. Not that way. Not that way. Grinding and all sorts of shit. Come on. Good boy. Oh! Oh! It's in! It's in! Move. Oh. And only one injury. The next 2 weeks were miserable, and I just got on with all the boring jobs you don't need to see. Yeah, I've just been sort of plodding along, doing odds and sods jobs here and there, realising certain jobs like the reverse light switch, can't do, come back to that later. The welding's been full swing, then I've been painting chassis, and it's all just been stuff that's not that interesting. And in that process, I just haven't been doing any of this. So, yeah, I've got a face again. The engine bay is now, as far as I know, completely done. AD's been in and done all the weld work. He's done an amazing job at that. The van is now solid again. Also, a quick shout out to the Road Viking, Joe, who come in and did the last 2 bits of welding that I found the day after AD went. And AD was then booked up for 2 weeks. And he was like, shit, there's 2 more plates that need to go on. So I got in touch with my good friend Joe. And he was kind enough to come in and weld them last 2 bits on for me. So thank you very much, Joe. I didn't actually get any recording of that because we were in a rush that day to get off to a meet that weekend. But yeah, he's another full-time van lifer and mobile mechanic that goes round and helps people with their campers and the mechanical aspects of them. And he come in and did me an absolute solid. So check him out on YouTube and Instagram. The chassis has now been completely ground back. It's been primered, painted again, wax oiled, and now I'm about to wax oil it again. What else? There's a few little inside bits. I've somehow managed to lose one of the rear side lights, and that also does the high level lights. Something's gone wrong there. I've got to find that again. That's probably the 5th time I've got to do that fix. Whole new wiring loom, same issue, wonderful. It's one of those I didn't really, this is sort of a last sort of job, but I was getting a bit of a lull in motivation. And I thought, if I get the face back on and she starts to look like my van again, I'll be happy. So once the clutch is done and the brakes are done, the wheels back on, and I've got that rear light issue sorted, she's coming back down on the ground. And it is then that I can actually, for the first time in 3 months, nearly 4 months, we can take her out and give her a drive. And it's yet another milestone of nervousness. What's it going to be like? There's a few factors in there that I've still yet to find out. Like, is the diff and gearbox, are they going to ratio up right? Is it going to have a limiter on it? The tacho is a bit of an issue. And then, of course, the MOT, which I'm hoping to get booked in for end of this week or early next week. And I mean, I've done everything I've found. Everything works as far as I know, but there could be something they find. And that's good, because I want to know that everything's okay before we shoot off over 1,000 miles. bugger all, but there's a little bit going on. A full shebang there. Okay, let's try that again. Bleed. Biggest fear is coming to realization. I questioned that thrust bearing when it first went in because it was different. Yeah, this is the same thrust bearing as what I fitted on my van, but this one has been built this year, is completely different. And now I'm starting to fear that it's the wrong one. I could really do without another drama like that. Come on, you No matter what I did, I couldn't get that pedal to bleed up properly. It was soft as anything halfway down and then went completely solid and wouldn't go to the floor. Something was very wrong, and as much as I didn't want to admit it, there was only one option. Just had to come in and take 5-10 minutes. It looks like the thrust bearing that originally I thought was a changed design is actually the wrong thrust bearing, meaning the gearbox has got to come off again. Sounding familiar? I just messaged John and told him, because he was the one that helped me fit it, and he said, "What are you doing tonight?" My response was along the lines of, "I'm just going to sit and throw a hissy fit," and he said, "No, come on, I'm on my way, we're going to do it tonight." So John's on his way, bless him, and we're going to take that gearbox back off. The van was due to come off its stilts today. Its MOT was supposed to be end of this week. I need it to be over now. But oh no, the universe had different ideas. Despite being a totally different gearbox, I was getting dropped into a copy-pasted scenario from 3 years ago. And unfortunately, it was at this point where the filming of this project just sort of fell apart. I haven't wanted to record all of this all night. It's down. How we're going to get it back up again, I have no f***ing idea. Something right here, is it? Sorry, I'm getting in the face.
Is this a good point to tell the internet I didn't put that bit in?
No, this was definitely me. That's well documented in previous videos.
It's the clutch plate I'm worried about, because that's 100% me.
While you're out there, could you just have a little look on the old engine and see if the splines are touching the base? I think we've got a problem there.
So I spray in here?
There you go. No. Ooh, steady. It does sit marginally higher, but not fat lot. these touching that point means the clutch has got no further to go. That's why we're seeing it, you know, bend as the clutch is going what. But I don't know why it would do that. And now the boring ass investigation begins, cross-referencing part numbers to see if Al-UK have once again done their thing. On there somewhere, oh yeah, it's worn. Bad. Oh hang on, no, this is going to be Al-UK numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean this is LUK, I'm sure I saw LUK, yeah, LUK.
Oh, okay. Right.
E5007?
E5012.
But that could be the year of manufacture.
Yeah, just to
No, it shouldn't be.
that point there is where I'm reading. Anything beyond there? I can't really see it. It's fitted. I can't see the thickness of that plate.
Well, I think either way we're whipping it off, aren't we?
I think we are. We'll have to, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking on the inside edge. It's the wrong one. Yeah, I do. It's just history repeating itself. It's unbelievable. Mate, don't worry. The fact that we've got to a conclusion and this isn't right. Well, this is going to be fun.
I know you enjoy it so much, we'll do it at least 3 more times.
I love it. So the conclusion was yes, Al-UK had once again just thrown random parts in a box and sent it off as a Mercedes Sprinter clutch. The thrust bearing was once again wrong, although cross-referencing part numbers says it's a superseded part. It's not. It does fit onto the gearbox, but it doesn't have the right amount of travel. And that thing with all the teeth on it you see on the engine side is also 5mm thicker. That, admittedly, is something I should have caught at the time, but at the end of the day, when you buy something and spend this sort of money from a company who specialises in transmissions, you'd think it's the right stuff. Nah. So our only option was to put the old stuff back on. Not exactly impressed, a huge waste of our time, and thank you once again to Al-UK. You thunder c***s. Oh, it's getting stuck in a little, look at mould in it, stuck in there. If this has to come back out now, I'm torching the van.
Amber's died,
I'm
soz.
done, yeah. Oh, thank God for that, I'm aching. Oh. Oh, hello. Whoa. I can't even be asked to even pretend. That went up, it was nice. The camera was off.
That went up, it was
We are back to where we were 5 hours ago? Probably longer. We're back. What are we on now? Quick bleed again. And we'll find out if we've got a clutch this time. And if not, torch.
Not the lighty thing, the fiery
Big fire
thing. Brake cleaner.
Brake cleaner, fire, walk away. Nice slow-mo shot, done. Finale. With everything back together, we could now try a re-bleed. Open and closed. Open. Closed. Open.
Down.
Oh wow, there's a lot of air in this now.
Yeah.
Closed. Open.
Down.
Closed.
Okay. Clutch down.
Still not moving. Okay. It wasn't getting stuck halfway anymore, but the clutch was still not engaging. But with time now looming on us, I had to press on. Also, all the blocks that the van's propped up on are ADs and I'd need to get them back to him. So I carried on, getting the brakes and wheels sorted out and getting the van back on the ground. It was hard to keep motivated and carry on when you know there's a big problem. So my apologies, but for this bit, the video gets a little bitty. After a few days, things stopped completely. Eurocar Parts did do me a solid and took the clutch back under warranty issues because they're also just as sick of our UK sending their customers the wrong stuff all the time. However, they made me wait over a weekend and just ordered the same clutch kit that was wrong. Yeah, not the brightest sparks. After that they said, sorry, here's your money back, we can't get you one, and left me completely clutchless. So then I was completely stuck in this situation again. That was until the two mechanical guardian angels turned up. I told Scottie about my woes, he called his supplier and had a clutch within 2 days. They then come down to the unit where I'd had the gearbox back off and instantly knew the issue. We hadn't used a clutch alignment tool, so when the old clutch kit came off it had unset itself and we refitted it completely unsprung, hence no clutch. They'd brought their alignment tool, got underneath the van, and now you're about to see the colossal difference between amateur and professional. So at this point, I gave up and got professionals involved.
When are they coming?
Yeah. The correct clutch kit. I mean, we've had the gearbox off twice now. We might as well fit a new clutch still. One of them bolt holes is just needs a bit of finesse. Within minutes, both Scottie and Seano had activated, instantly sussed out the ins and outs of my entire gearbox, having run diagnostics on it via finger touch. The parts were flying on and the bolts were razzing up as they spoke to themselves in terms I couldn't quite understand.
Just go to rotate a wee bit.
Yeah, hold on, that's why that's no coding though.
That's not because they're Scottish, they were just talking in terms that were way beyond my comprehension. Before the kettle had even boiled to offer them a brew, the gearbox was on and they were now bleeding the clutch. I just... What?
Just you see Jane a man himself and you didn't watch it.
It's like 98% dog.
Yeah. Him there's nobody, remember?
Yeah.
You are just a glorified printmaker. You got a money shot here. He's got a pedal, she's alive. It's alive.
The next one will be
And these two are for you.
a bottle of whiskey that I like.
Yeah.
That's the bottle of whiskey, mate. I kid you not. Well done.
You need to dig out sometimes with stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
you get so sort of
it's,
stuck in it, don't you?
Yeah, it just becomes, you get disillusioned and then time's against you and everything else. Like,
We
so.
do it even in the workshop, mate, and between the two of you, sometimes it's like, he'll go in and just get stunned.
Yeah.
And they
Second
say,
sort of mindset,
yeah, the phone's
yeah.
going, that's going, this is happening. And it gets on top of you.
Yeah. There you go. Proof that legendary mechanics still exist. Cheers, boys. See you soon. I could now reassemble all the gearbox gubbins for the final time, knowing for a fact that it's actually going to work. The linkages need to be reattached and all readjusted up, the prop needs to go on, the cross member, and it was here where it dawned on me that that reverse switch I'd spent ages f***ing and farting around with would have actually been a lot easier having known the gearbox was coming out. Yeah, that was one of life's little slaps in the face. But honestly, I was just relieved that this saga was once again over. I couldn't believe it happened again, but it was over. van was now mechanically ready for its first test drive, but the cab still needed a bit of attention, and I wanted her to basically be complete in here for when I'd take her out the door. But in true Amber style, even, the glove box was putting up a fight. There were still a few switches and trim pieces that needed swapping over so it'd work with the new system. Now all that's left is to pull Emma's van outside and see if all of this gargantuan Frankenstein's monster of a job has worked, and if she'll drive. Don't think I've ever been quite so nervous. It didn't work. There was seemingly something very wrong with the van. It felt like when you were trying to set off in first gear, it was actually setting off in fourth, like extremely geared up. The only things I could think of at the time that would cause that are gearbox and diff related, which is a huge job, which jettisoned me into breakdown number 2. A few hours later though, after a really bad day, I had an epiphany, and as it turned out, it was completely my fault. What a day. So Scottie and Seano come in today, I'd say help me get the clutch and gearbox sorted, but they basically just did it. Absolute legends, can't thank them enough. And then that was basically the last thing before I could take the van and give it a go, see if everything's worked. I did that tonight. It was just a sequence of stalls and clusterfucks. Because essentially it felt like the van was geared up by 4 gears. I was setting off in first gear. At first I thought I'd got the linkages wrong around and I'd put it into 5th. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was so horrifically geared up. I was like, oh no. All that's been going through my head for the past 5 hours is that the gearbox isn't happy with the diff ratio and it's all knackered. And I've ruined my van and it's done. I've been in such a horrible state the past few hours, and I've been on the forum. I've asked a load of questions. I've put some feelers out to people in the know. Tomorrow I was getting ready to call 3 transmission places and ask about ratios, because I don't understand ratios. I don't know how they work. Every gearbox in these are the same, so I've read. Every gearbox is the same. There's no ratios difference. It just goes to the final drive and the diff's what does the difference. Until it dawned on me literally 15 minutes ago that I haven't yet adjusted the button for the Telma on the pedal. Okay, that seems to be all wired up and working. Then all I had to do was set that switch up so it would connect to the brake pedal properly, but instead of doing that I moved on to the brake light switch. That's probably going to bite me in the arse later on down the line. That's just flapping around doing nothing, and when it's flapping around doing nothing, it's on essentially, which grabs the prop. Every time I look at the brake pedal I'm like, I need to do that button. Never have. That's gotta be it. What a knob. Anyway, there's nothing to be done about it tonight. I've wasted 5 hours feeling like I was being swallowed up by the ground. I'm at a point now where I want my house back. I want to be able to drive. I want to be able to go out and leave, and this isn't content for me anymore. I need to get it done. So I'm sorry that there's not as much stuff to see at the moment. I know I've really dropped the ball on that, but on my end I need to focus on actually getting it going again. I've got to sell Lenni. I've got a young lad who wants to buy Lenni off me, Max. Great lad, you probably see him. as and when that happens. But yeah, he's screaming out for a new car. He needs Lenni, and I need to be able to get that gone, so I need this on the road. There's a Patreon meet start next month, so 2 weeks away. It's my birthday this weekend. I want this on the road. I need to get it on the road. So yeah, that was the case. I had essentially left the world's biggest handbrake on. So I fixed that, but then there was more issues. And more. And more. It was so close and could move and drive. It just couldn't go at a speed that was safe on roads. Couldn't stop properly. There was some nasty noises and she was drinking fuel. Like, I could see it going down on idle. And it was here I legitimately questioned giving up. I was tired, man, and it was actually starting to affect my health. Let me know. Don't... Okay, we're getting through the issues, but there's still more. So the turbo's been whistling a lot, and as it turns out, there is absolutely no boost. So only having gone to Emma's van and checked hers, I've realised down there on the turbo actuator, I've put the pipes on the wrong way around. She doesn't watch the videos. Last night I fell asleep right here. Just keeled up and fell asleep on the sofa. And I had a sequence of really weird dreams last night. Really weird ones. But one stuck out the most and was sort of stuck with me all morning. And that one was a load of people tied my hands to the ladder of my own van and got in and drove it, and they just started to drive off, and I was having to get pulled along by my own van, and then they were just putting the foot down, and it was just getting faster and faster and faster, and I was just getting dragged along, having to run faster and faster until I was just getting dragged, and then I woke up. Kind of visualised how I've been feeling lately. Definitely, I think that was my dream trying to tell me it's time to slow down a little bit. Because I'm literally 3 months now, just this and then this. But at least in my dream I got to see my van drive. At least it drives in my head. I was called mad and crazy a lot when I first started this project. What's the point? Why not just buy a new van? Or that's too much work and financially infeasible. And now, in a way, I have to agree. Money aside, it's taken more out of me than I could have possibly imagined, and brought me to my knees on a few occasions. As I've said throughout, it's a big enough task doing this on a work van or a daily vehicle, but this van is more than that. This is my full-time home on wheels. It holds everything I own, and both me and Lance have called it home for 4 years now. So without it, for us, it was purgatory. And that pressure, along with our needing to get back abroad and continue the life we'd tried to start out there, knocked this project up a fair few gears. I always dive headfirst into projects and forget to give myself breaks. This one I definitely bit off a bit more than I could chew. But do I regret giving this project a try? Something I was so biblically untrained for? No, not at all. I remember back to when I first bought the van, the very same comments and fun making happened then. You've bought an ambulance? Why? That thing's knackered, it will never get around Europe. It was regularly a point of piss taking or utter confusion from others, but I knew I needed a way out of the life that was making me so unhappy. Amber, granted, was a scrap van. The gearbox was dying, the electrics were shot, and the body and frame even back then were questionable. I bought it for this one life-affirming trip, and that was supposed to be that, just a throwaway van that I didn't really look after and got into all sorts of sticky situations. I even had a contingency stash just to get us home in case I plunged the van off a cliff, which nearly happened twice. But instead of keeling over and snapping in half as everyone expected, she soldiered through 18,000 miles of Europe, barreling off-road where some 4x4s wouldn't even dare, hill climbing, pulling out sunken boats, running from ghosts, running from the police, which we're not going to go into. The adventures were undescribable and the wild park-ups were our own, because nobody else would be stupid enough to attempt a fair few of them. But as time went on and the more I picked up the camera and caught our ridiculous and aimless trip, the more I bonded with this old ambulance. It became part of our team, me, Amber and Lance. Yes, that's why I called the dog Lance. She'd become another main character in our stupid stories here on the internet. And my one-time trip became a way of life, as did the one-trip van. I've said it before and it's corny as hell, but this van saved my life. It's also threatened to end it a good few times, some of that's well documented, but it did, it transported me away from a very dark and bleak path. For that I owed a debt to this old wreck, and now that I've returned the favour, the debt's been paid. It took 4 whole months trying to revive the van, turning it from semi-auto to manual. And after a lot of aggro, head scratching and the odd tumble, we got there, despite being told from a lot of people that this just can't be done. That includes trained mechanics, engineers and Mercedes-Benz themselves. Well, yeah, it's manual.